The Capitol's Dark Secret, The Darkness Beneath Democracy, Episode 1. What if I told you that everything you saw on January 6th wasn't the whole story? That beneath the chaos and destruction, something far darker was at play, something more terrifying than a riot? What if I told you that the power we think runs this country isn't what it seems? It all began on a cold, sunny day on January 6th, 2021, the day that shook the nation to its core. The morning felt off from the start. I could feel it the second I stepped onto Capitol grounds. Something was wrong. The air was thick, too heavy for such a bright winter day, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Not by the cameras, not by the protesters gathering outside, by something else. I'd been working security at the Capitol for over a year, and nothing had ever gotten under my skin until that day. I was having lunch with Percival Edwards, the quiet old janitor who everyone knew but barely noticed, just as the protests were gaining steam outside. He had a meek demeanor, typical harmless guy, always soft-spoken, always polite. The tension in the city? Sure, that was expected. But what unsettled me wasn't the crowds. It was the feeling in the air, like something dark was crawling beneath the surface, waiting to strike. And as I glanced at old man Percival for the first time, I wondered if he sensed it too. I was stationed near the west side of the building, overseeing the hallways that led to the chambers of Congress. At first, it was routine, keeping an eye on the monitors, tracking the movements of protesters gathering outside, but then the screens started flickering. What I saw next made my blood run cold. There, on the camera feed, was a figure cloaked in black. His face was swallowed by the shadows of a hood, but the way he moved, it wasn't human. He didn't walk. He glided like he was barely touching the ground, slipping through the halls like a phantom. Each time I tried to focus on him, the image warped and blurred, as if the cameras themselves were rejecting his presence. It was like watching a glitch in reality. And the worst part? His eyes, cold, piercing like they could see right through the lens, locked onto mine for just a second before flickering away. No one else saw him, just me. I radioed the other security personnel, but they brushed it off. No one's there, they told me. You're seeing things. But I knew what I saw. He was real, and he was moving toward the heart of the Capitol. And then the breach happened. The floodgates opened and chaos poured in. As the insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, I found myself stuck between the crowds and something far more terrifying. Him! The man in black, still moving unseen through the chaos. I had to find him. I had to know what he was doing. Be brave, I thought out loud. I took a deep breath and moved down the corridor, my flashlight flickering as I entered a darker part of the building, one that wasn't on any of the blueprints. That's when I saw the door. A heavy wooden door, weathered and dark with something carved into it. 666. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. The numbers were rough, scratched into the wood as if by claws. The hallway went silent around me. Even the chaos outside seemed to disappear. Slowly, I reached for the handle, my hand trembling, and as I turned it, the door creaked open. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and in that moment, I knew I wasn't alone. A cold gust of air hit me, sending shivers down my spine like 1,000 tiny ice picks. Or maybe it was the icy grip of death. My flashlight flickered and died, plunging me into complete darkness. Shiver me timbers, I need spinach power. That's all I can stand. I can't stand no more, I thought, channeling my inner Popeye. Funny how a near-death experience brings back childhood memories. Who knew I'd be invoking a cartoon sailor to save my skin? Don't ask me why. Logic flew out the window the moment I stepped into this nightmare. Curiosity got the better of me, so I flung open the door like I was auditioning for a horror film, hoping for a plot twist. In the pitch black, I heard a whisper, a faint chilling sound that felt like someone was breathing right down my neck. Great, just what I needed. A ghost with a respiratory issue. As if dying in a haunted house wasn't cliché enough, now I had to deal with a spectral asthmatic. Perfect. I could already hear the headlines. Man beaten by bad decisions and bad breath. He's coming. Suddenly, a loud rang out behind me. I spun around, but there was nothing there, just the dark hallway. My heart was in my throat. I felt something brush past me, icy fingers grazing my skin. I stumbled backward into the room, trying to keep my breath steady, but the walls seemed to close in on me. In the dim light, I saw it, a Bible, lying upside down on a wooden table at the center of the room. But it wasn't just sitting there. The pages were flipping wildly, as if caught in some invisible wind, though the air around me was deathly still. My heart pounded, and a cold sweat ran down my spine. Something was, deeply. This wasn't just a room. It felt like I'd stumbled into a place I was never supposed to see, and that's when I heard it, a low whisper right behind me. Who was it? If you think this story can't get any darker, you'll want to tune in tomorrow for the final revelation. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with this terrifying tale. And click on the playlist in the top left corner to hear more stories just like this one. See you tomorrow, if you dare.